Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something kind of tricky?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. We're talking about those big moments.
Milestone.
Exactly, milestones, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, all those times that, well, they're supposed to be.
Full of celebration.
Yeah, exactly. But what happens when you're feeling, well, lonely?
Ah, yeah.
Can those moments still be meaningful, still be joyful?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is. And today we're going to try to answer it. We're going to be looking at using some insights from LPot,
Always a good source.
always. They have some really interesting thoughts on how to navigate these occasions and maybe, just maybe, find a different kind of freedom when you're achieving milestones, on your own.
That's interesting. LPOTS really emphasizes that not everyone has a huge support system for every single milestone. And you know what? That's okay.
It is.
It is. They actually see it as this chance for a really unique kind of freedom, like self-discovery, especially when it comes to motivation.
Okay, I got to admit, you've got me intrigued.
Well,
How does that work?
all right. So LPOT starts by saying, hey, be kind to yourself.
Okay,
It's all about accepting those tough feelings like the sadness, the disappointment. Don't try to bury them.
right.
They suggest journaling, talking to someone you trust, or even just sit with those feelings because feeling lonely during these times, it's normal.
Right.
It's not like you failing somehow.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to be happy, especially during milestones.
Totally.
And then we see those like picture perfect celebrations on social
And
media.
we
It's like,
know.
oh, I'm doing it wrong if my real life doesn't match up.
Exactly. And that is precisely where LPOTS says, hey, let's redefine what celebration means. It's
Right.
about truly finding what feels right for you, even if it means breaking from tradition a little bit.
So, okay, so instead of that big birthday bash, maybe you spend the day volunteering
Yeah.
for a cause you love, or you take yourself on like a solo adventure. That's a celebration that like actually aligns with your values.
Exactly. It's about making new rituals. Like, what if instead of the big family dinner on a holiday, you took yourself to a cooking class, learned to make some fancy meal just for you?
I love that. It's like you're saying, hey, this is my day, and I'm going to make it special in a way that feels good to me.
Yes. And that feeling that this is mine can be really motivating. You're not waiting for other people to make you feel good or make the day special. It's you.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to lose motivation when you feel like you're doing something just for show or because someone else expects it.
Totally.
But when it comes from inside you, it just feels so much more real.
It does. And even if connecting with others feels a little overwhelming sometimes, especially during these times,
Yeah.
LPITS is find those small interactions, like a quick call with a friend,
Right.
maybe chat with your neighbor, join I don't know, a local event.
That reminds me, connection doesn't have to be this big, elaborate thing.
Yep.
Sometimes it's those small moments that really, really make a difference.
And sometimes those little encounters you have while traveling are way more memorable than the big planned tour.
Exactly. They stick with
They
you.
do. And LPOTS had this really interesting suggestion of reaching out to others who might also be feeling lonely during these milestones.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
It's like a win-win.
Totally.
You're offering support to someone and maybe you're starting a connection that could benefit both of you.
It's like turning this potentially isolating thing into a chance to connect.
Exactly.
And that leads us to kind of another big idea from LPOTS, embracing solitude.
Oh,
Instead of looking at being alone as a bad thing, they're look at it as a chance to recharge.
yeah.
Do your own thing, enjoy that me time without feeling guilty.
You know what? That reminds me of, I used to really struggle with birthdays, especially if I didn't have big plans.
Oh, yeah.
But now I actually kind of appreciate the quiet time, the reflection when I'm alone on my birthday. I've had some of my most creative ideas during those times.
I think that's such a powerful point. Solitude can be fertile ground for creativity, for figuring yourself out.
Yeah.
It gives you that mental space to process things, to think about where you've been, and to tap into those parts of yourself that might get lost in the everyday.
And it's not just about, being creative.
No.
It can be a time to really connect with yourself. Like maybe finally read that book you've been putting off, or explore a new part of your city, or even just take a long bath without feeling like you should be doing something else.
It's true. It's like Solitude lets you be in tune with what you need without all the pressure of what other people expect, you know? And sometimes that deep connection with yourself, that is the celebration. That's all you need.
I like that. Okay, now curious about the practical side of all of this.
Yeah.
How does LPot suggest we handle like the tough emotions that can come up during these milestones, especially when you're navigating them, on your own?
Okay, well, they talk about planning ahead,
Okay.
like really anticipating what might trigger you and having a plan to deal with it.
So like, let's say a particular holiday tradition always makes you feel kind of down.
Yeah.
Instead of dreading it, you could fill that day with activities that bring you joy.
Right. Sign up for a workshop, start a new project, go on a hike, you know?
Yeah.
It's about taking control and finding those positive alternatives.
It's almost like saying, I know this might be tough, so I'm going to be extra intentional about filling it with good things.
Yeah, exactly. And being proactive like that can be like its own form of motivation
How so?
because it shows you're committed to taking care of yourself,
Ah,
that you're ready to take charge of your emotions.
that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like the freedom that comes from being self-motivated. It's about knowing you have the power to shape your experience, even during those, potentially challenging times.
You have the power. That's a really empowering message for anyone feeling isolated or alone during these times.
It is.
It's not about being at the mercy of your emotions or what's happening around you. You have agency. You can choose.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, how does LPOTS suggest dealing with those, like, lingering emotions? Even when you've planned ahead, stuff still comes up.
Right. They say it's important to find healthy ways to express yourself,
Okay.
especially creative outlets.
So, like, journaling, making art, writing music, even something as simple as writing a letter to yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you never send it.
It's about getting those feelings out, making them real somehow.
Giving them, like, a tangible form.
Exactly. You turn those emotions into something, constructive. And sometimes just the act of creating, that's all the healing you need.
It's like you're taking those, like, heavy emotions and you're turning them into something beautiful.
Exactly. Like it's alchemy for the soul.
Ooh, I love that. Alchemy for the soul. And of course, LPOTS remind us that seeking professional support is always an option. If you're feeling overwhelmed or stuck, a therapist can help.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget about online communities.
Yes.
There are so many people out there who are going through similar things.
So many.
Connecting with them, it can really make you feel seen, like you're not alone.
It's like you realize, hey, I'm not the only one going through this. And that can be so powerful, so comforting.
It can be.
It is. It's like you're tapping into this like collective wisdom and strength. Even in those lonely moments, you're part of something bigger.
And that brings us to one of the most, I think, powerful messages from LPOTS.
Yeah.
Milestones, they're just days.
That's it. Just days.
They don't define you.
No.
They don't define your worth.
It's so easy to get caught up in what society says, like, we have to celebrate a certain way or achieve certain things by a certain age. But LPot's like, challenge those ideas.
Yeah.
Focus on what matters in the long run.
So it's about giving ourselves permission to experience these days differently.
Yes.
Honoring our own needs and feelings.
Because real happiness, true fulfillment, it comes from inside you, not from checking off some list that someone else made.
Right, exactly. And that's where, LPOT's emphasis on self-motivation really comes in.
It all ties together, doesn't it?
It does. When you're not looking for someone else to make you feel good, to say good job, you're free to set your own goals, define your own success.
Celebrate in a way that feels true to you.
Yes. It's almost like a quiet rebellion against the traditional way of thinking about milestones.
Oh, I like that.
You're not waiting for someone to give you permission to celebrate or acknowledge your own worth.
You're taking charge.
Yes, you are. You're defining what matters to you.
And that can be incredibly liberating. Just imagine, what could you do if you weren't bound by expectations, by societal pressure? You could chase your passions, explore new paths,
Yeah.
create a life that reflects you, on your own terms.
I'm realizing this whole approach to milestones, it fits so well with the idea of embracing solitude.
It does.
When you're comfortable being alone, when you're confident that you can create your own happiness,
Yeah.
you don't need other people to make those milestone moments feel special.
You don't. And that self-reliance, that inner strength, it's attractive,
It is.
both to ourselves and to other people.
It's like a magnet.
It is. When you're confident, when you're self-assured, people are drawn to that.
Yeah, and it creates this, like, positive feedback loop.
It does.
The more you invest in your own growth, your own happiness, the more you attract people who appreciate that.
Exactly. And it's not about becoming a lone wolf. It's realizing that taking care of yourself, that's the foundation for having healthy relationships.
That's a great point.
It is. And LPot's reminds us that, yeah, navigating these milestones alone, it can be tough. But it's also this incredible chance to grow, to discover yourself, to connect more deeply with yourself, and ultimately with others.
It's about reclaiming those moments, those milestones, saying, hey, this day is important to me, and I'm going to honor it in a way that feels right.
Regardless of who I'm with.
Regardless of how many people are around.
Yes. It's about redefining what celebration means.
Yeah.
Finding joy and meaning in the unexpected.
I like that.
And it's realizing that sometimes the most profound growth, the most meaningful connections, they come from those moments when we choose to walk our own path, even if it means going against the grain or stepping outside our comfort zone.
It can be scary.
Yeah.
But so worth it.
It is.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive into LPots, let's recap. First and foremost, you are not alone. Feeling a little lost, a little lonely during milestones, that's normal.
It's a shared experience.
It is. Don't be ashamed of it. Embrace those feelings. Be kind to yourself.
And remember, you have the power to create meaningful experiences, even when you're alone.
Redefine what celebration means to you. Connect in small ways. And see solitude as a chance to grow, to discover who you are.
And don't forget to plan ahead. Find creative outlets. Ask for support when you need it. Remember, milestones are just days.
That's it, just days.
They don't define you. They don't define your worth.
And now, for a final thought, I want to leave you with this question. What's one small step you can take today to redefine a milestone that's coming up?
Maybe it's brainstorming a new tradition. Reaching out to someone you haven't talked to in a while. Scheduling some me time.
Whatever it is, make it intentional. Make it meaningful.
And make it about you.
For more support, more resources, check out LPot's website and social media. They've got a great community, people who get it, who are all about embracing the journey, bumps and all.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep celebrating life on your own terms. It's not about pretending everything's perfect, right?
No, not at all. It's more about changing how we think about things. Realizing that these milestones, these moments, they can mean just as much, maybe even more when we celebrate them our own way.
Yeah.
In a way that fits who we are, where we are in life.
And that's what's so cool about LPot's approach.
I know, right?
It's not some quick fix or one-size-fits-all solution.
No way. It's more about really understanding yourself.
Yeah.
And taking charge of your experiences, even the tough ones. And honestly, I think that's what leads to, really feeling happy and fulfilled.
Yeah.
For real, not just pretending.
And that self-awareness, that willingness to step outside of what everyone expects and really figure out what matters to you.
That's where the magic is.
It is.
It's in those moments when you're really honest with yourself that you figure out what you can do, what you're capable of, and you create a life that, means something.
That feels real.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe, maybe that's the best way to celebrate a milestone,
How?
By becoming the best version of yourself one day at a time.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I think that's a perfect place to wrap up this part of our deep dive into LPot's wisdom on navigating milestones.
It's been great.
It has. And remember, you have the power to create meaningful experiences even when you're alone. Embrace your journey. Celebrate your achievements. Keep shining, one milestone at a time. It's we've been saying this whole time, it's not about ignoring the fact that being alone can be hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Or pretending like everything is always sunshine and rainbows.
No. It's more about how we look at things.
Okay.
Those milestones, those moments, they can be just as meaningful, maybe even more so, when we do them our way.
Yeah, when it's on our terms.
Exactly, in a way that feels real to us, that fits, where we are in life.
And that's what makes LPot's perspective so interesting.
It's not about those quick fixes or, one-size-fits-all solutions.
But it's deeper than that.
It is. It's about truly understanding yourself and owning your experiences, even the tough ones. And when you do that, I really think, I think that's what leads to feeling truly happy, truly fulfilled.
Not just pretending.
Right. And that self-awareness, that willingness to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to figure out what matters to me, not what everyone else expects.
Yeah.
That's powerful stuff. That's where the real magic happens.
It's you discover your potential. You create a life that actually means something.
A life that feels real, that feels right. And, maybe Maybe that's the biggest celebration of all.
What do you mean?
Becoming the best version of yourself.
Oh, I see. Like each day, each step is a milestone in itself.
Exactly. Okay, well, I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into LPots and their ideas on milestones.
It's been a pleasure.
It has.
And remember, everyone, you have the power to create meaningful experiences, even when you're alone.
That's right.
Embrace your journey, celebrate your achievements, and keep shining, one milestone at a time.